It's been out to the coast. Oh, would you lock the door? We still eat, we still feed when I'm 64. You'll be older too, and if you say the word, I could stay with you. I could be happy, fixing you when the lights are gone. You could then sweater by the fireside, Sunday morning go for a ride through the garden, digging the weeds. Who could ask for more? We still need me, we still feed me when I'm 64. Every summer we could rent a cottage on the Isle of Wight if it's not too dear. We shall strip and save grandchildren on your knee. Vera, Chuck, and Dave. Send me a postcard, drop me a line, stating point you. Indicate precisely what you mean to say. You're sincerely wasting away. Give me your answer, live in the storm, blind forevermore. We still need me, we still need me when I'm 64. Ooh. All right. What? I love it. Do you, Mom? Grab the clavicle and love it. Yeah.
I'm telling you.
That's great.
You'll be 64 pretty soon, won't you, Grandma?
Step tell a lie.
Yeah, 2 of them.
Be sure it's true when you say, I love you. It's a sin to tell a lie. Millions of hearts have been broken just because these words were spoken. I love you, yes I do. I love you. If you break my heart, I'll die. So be sure it's true when you say I love you. It's a sin to tell a lie. You guys sing it. Cross my heart, I hope to die. I never, well, no, you're supposed to sing the first verse, then I do the other. You guys sing, be sure it's true. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Be sure it's cross my heart, I hope to say. I never tell another wife. I took my little girl out on a date last night next to her, grabbed her, looked alright. Now I'm between the devil and the deep blue sea. I said, baby, you look good to me. I told her I love her. Know how I lie. Now she gets set to be the blushing bride if she leaves me to the altar. I'm Sunday. I cannot tell the preacher I was drunk. So Lord have mercy on an old cat sin and give me one more chance to let another guy with her cross my heart. Hope to die. Never tell her one more time. I'll never tell another white lie. Vodo-de-o-do.
Back home again.
Back home again. Boy, that fits today.
I love it.
Where's Zach? This is his favorite song.
Playing a video.
Oh, I
Go over there.
There are priorities.
Where are you? Oh, okay.
Take the shade off this man.
Let the storm across the valley. Clouds are rolling.
Oh, that's better.
The afternoon is heavy off your shoulders.
Come back here.
There's a truck out on the 4 lane, a mile or more away, and the whining of his wheels just dark. There's a fire softly burning, supper's on the stove. There's a light in your eyes that makes him warm. It's good to be back home again. Sometimes this old farm feels like a long lost friend. Yes, and hey, it's good to be back home again. There's all the news out there. Honey, how do you spend your time? Tell me what's the latest thing the neighbors say. And your mother called last Friday, and sunshine made her cry. And you felt the baby move just yesterday. It's good to be back home again. Sometimes this old farm feels like a long, long time. Yes, it's good to be back home again.
Oh, I want to join.
Oh, the time that I can lay this tired old body down. Feel your fingers for the soft on me. Yeah. The kisses that I live for, the love that lights my way, the happiness that living with you brings me, the sweetest thing I know, just spending time with you. It's the little things that make a house a home. Like a fire softly burning, the supper on the stove, and the light in your eyes makes me warm. It's good to be back home again. Sometimes this old farm feels like a long lost friend. Yes, it's good to be back home again. It's good to be back home again. You know. Sometimes this old farm feels like a long lost friend. It's good to be back home again. I said, hey, it's so good to be back home again. Did I get a couple in the back there?
Couple people got stuff in their eye, didn't they?
Yeah, that's not a Thanksgiving song. And it was in the fall, too, when I wrote it, I remember.
Thanksgiving is a fantastic time of year, you know?
Wonderful.
Let's do Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. All the little kids can sing.
Rudolph, Rudolph, red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw him, you would even say it low. All of the other reindeers used to laugh and call him name. They never let poor Rudolph join in the reindeer game. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came today. Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then how the reindeer loved him and they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history. Rudolph, when you're not around, whoa, you got by a sleigh tonight. Then how the reindeer love you, and they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history.
John, the song on the Muppet record, that beautiful, there were two of them, and I'm trying to think. The piece,
Oh, rats, I can't think.
it's to every one of us to be wise. That's
Oh.
one of my,
It's in
Oh, yeah.
every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by.
now there was a little, another one, that's one of them, but the other one.
While you're thinking about it, Anna Kay, which
I'm
one would
gonna
you like
look
to add to sing? Which, do you have a favorite? Huh?
The Piece of Christmas. The Piece, that, yes, the Piece of Christmas Day.
The garment of light is gathering Rats, I can't. I've got to remember that.
Okay.
What time is this?
The chorus, the branch that bears the bright light. The star that
for all.
The branch that bears the bright holly, the yeah.
When the flag is over, fly away. To the landward run on the shore, I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. Sometime morning when the flag is over, I'll fly away. Over to you.
You know the words? I don't know the words. Just a few more weary days.
Just in a few.
We're just a Thursday where I go to church. They don't.
Do it again, John. We have to do everything twice to get it right.
Glad morning when this life is over, I'll fly away. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly
get Grandma started on the escape room? Chord? Would you have to start?
I don't know, it just goes,
Almost heaven. Boy, you should have heard him sing this. What I do? This and Back Home Again and no, thank God I'm a country boy. It's the Farm Aid concert. 90,000 people.
What did you sing in China and Russia?
All of these. Boy, yeah, I think Matthew, I think. Any song, I'll do any song in Russian for you. Almost heaven. West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country road, all my business together around her. Riding ladies, strangers to blue water. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Misty days, moonshine, teardrops in my eyes. Country road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country road. I hear her voice in the morning hour, she calls me. The radio reminds me of my home far away. Driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Yesterday, country road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country road, take me home. Down country road, take me home. Down country road. Oh no. That'll get me better. On the road again, the Willie song? On the road again? I don't know. I'll make it a point.
What did you sing in Russia?
So,
Tell us about that.
Annie song.
American artists do public concerts in over 7 years. And the people who came, some of the people might have heard my name, maybe have heard Annie's song or Country Road. And they had played I Want to Live on television over there from the first time that I was there. But really they didn't know me. So I sort of, and see, I feel that people all over the world are the same. When you get down to parents and grandparents and children, people are the same. What they want for their children is the same thing. So then all my songs are about that, but with a certain kind of focus, if you will, which is American, because they're about West Virginia and Kansas and the Rocky Mountains of Colorado and like that, Montana. So to go sing these songs for people and have them communicate to people verifies this thing that we're all the same, that we would so easy to forget. So the purpose of my trip is of my travels around the world and singing around the world is to bring that out so people have a real experience of being like other people all over the world. So when I started these concerts, I would introduce myself basically. I started with an Aspen and talked about, and I said this is a song about where I come from and how it feels to travel so very far and how when I'm gone, I think about my children, and I think about my lady, and I think about my friends, and my friends are the mountains where I live, and that I'm happy to be here. And I sang Rocky Mountain High, and then I asked this guy to explain to him what high meant. It said not high up, but high exhilaration, feeling good about life. And that's how the mountains make me feel. And he would say all of this, and I'd say, and that's how I feel to be singing here for you in the Soviet Union. He would say that, applause. So I'm introducing myself, you see, and I would do, I did Matthew, Back Home Again, and Matthew, and I talked about your family, this family here, and talked about life on the farm, and Uncle Dean, and my feelings about him, and said that this song says that blue is just the gold is just a windy Kansas wheat field, not the gold that we muddy, and it's blue, not the feeling of sadness, but the summer sky in Kansas. And so through the process of all of this, these people kind of get to know me a little bit, and then I get to, I did the Bells of Brimney, and it was a Pete Seeger song, and Pete Seeger's been there many times. He was very popular in the Soviet Union, and so it's a virtuoso kind of guitar number on the 12 string, and that always got a big applause. And then I did I Want to Live, which has been shown on Soviet television, talked about hunger in the world, and that got a very, very strong reaction. I did the Olympic theme that I wrote, the Golden Beyond, and that has some pretty high notes and stuff, and so that got a huge reaction. That was the first half of the show. And I came out in the second half, and I opened Country Roads. And then I explained that for me, everybody has the same, everybody all over the world, when they've been gone for a while, they want to go back home. That's a universal feeling, and for me, going home is always going down a country road to my grandma's house. And so they recognized that, and I said, now one of the things that I remember about grandma's house, my favorite thing is that when I was a little kid, in the evening after dinner, everybody would go sit in the kitchen where the stove was to keep it warm, and all the adults would talk, and they'd send all of us kids to bed. And my grandmother had this big set of bed. And to me, when I was a little kid, it seemed like it was 9 feet high, and it was 6 feet wide. And these people are laughing and agreeing. And that thing about after dinner, when the adults sit and talk and all the kids go to bed, that is universal. I mean, from mud huts in Africa, to communes in China, to apartments in the Soviet Union, anywhere in the world, that is something people have experienced. So you point that out, I'd say they put us in that bed. The bed is, I remember there were times there were 11 kids in that bed, and 2 or 3 dogs, and they were laughing. And I said, I'll never forget the night we had a pig in that bed. They're laughing just like this, and if you build it up and everything, the process of the show, you have people practically falling out of their chairs. So now they're really with me, you see. And so I did Grandma's Feather Bed, and then I said, I better explain now about Aunt Lou. And some of my interpreters saying, I said, my Aunt Lou was actually my Aunt Corey Swope. And she was a wonderful gal, and I play with this, and I say she's a very large woman. So this gets a laugh, and I say, she had a Shetland pony farm. And she loved those Shetland ponies. And the truth is that she smelled like them. So they're laughing just like this. And I said, now she knew it, everybody knew it. It was just kind of a family joke. But the thing is if we'd have people over, she was kind of embarrassed about this, so she tried to cover up the fact by dousing herself with perfume. And the combination was awesome. That's a word that I learned from Zach, my son Zach. And so she had to sing when I was a little kid about kissing me, see? And she'd see me across the room, and she'd say, oh, Johnny. And so my Russian interpreter is saying, but this makes you know. And they're just cracking up. And then she'd come over, and she'd kiss me, clap me to her boots, and I couldn't breathe. So that was Grandma's Feather Bed, and then I did some love songs. And I've been introducing most of my songs each time and trying to find the places to have a little bit of humor there, because I couldn't do things like Toledo, Ohio, and I couldn't do my poem, The Ambulance in the Valley, and the story, the camping story that I tell. So try to find some lightness in these introductions to the songs that people respond to. And then I'd say, I'd like them to not talk very much. I just want to sing some songs for you. And these are all love songs, and this guy would interpret it. I'd say the first song is about 2 people who have been together for a long time and who have now drifted apart. And it's called Seasons of the Heart. You would do that. And I'd say the next song will be, it's a song about 2 people who are on opposite sides of the world and feel very, very far apart from one another. But one night in a phone call, they realized that they both live under the same moon and the same stars. And all of a sudden, the distance between them disappeared. We'll explain that, and I said, I've always felt that people all over the world should be reminded that we always all live under the same moon and the same stars. And in spite of vast differences in language and culture and heritage and religion and politics, that we all live under the same moon and the same star. He'd say that, applause, a big applause. And then I'd say the next song is called, I did Shanghai Breezes and I'm Sorry, I think, and My Sweet Lady. So I did 4 songs in a row after these funny things with Country Roads and Grandma's Feather Bed. These 4 love songs. People were out there snuggling up to one another, really getting into it, you know. And then I said, I finished that song, the 4th song, the last one, My Sweet Lady, is verse ready, and so really nice, warm applause now. I mean, now we're all together. And I said, you know, lovers are the same all over the world. You know, people out there, the guy would interpret it, yeah, people are nodding their heads. I said, well, we're not, we forget about that. You know, we say the children are the same all over the world, and everybody knows that that's true. The birth cry of every newborn baby is the same. But we're not so quick to say or to think that parents are the same all over the world. And I believe that they are. And people out there nodding their heads. I say grandparents are the same all over the world. If you ask any parent anywhere in the world what it is they want for their children, and the answer invariably will be almost word for word the same. They want health and happiness for their child, the opportunity for their child to grow and to learn and to someday live a productive life of their own and to maybe find a partner in life and have children of their own. People out there nodding their heads. And I think my friend Jimmy Buffett says it very well. He says, I want to go to work and do a good job, come home to my wife and family and have a beer and not get blown up. I said that, yeah. The interpreter says that, applause. Applause. Everywhere in the world when I say that, it gets applause. People, you know, people do all feel the same. So I talk about being in China and having been to a place that's so much older than my country. Everything you see in China is older than our country. And how the people were really wonderful and amazing people. And I really started realizing that we are all in this together, you know, and that somehow we've lived life in a way that has, and actually it's part of the process, in my opinion. It's how we got to where we are. We say it's you or me. That means me first. But now we live in a time, because of nuclear weapons, that it's you and me. And if we don't make this little shift in our consciousness, we have the potential, every condition for us to destroy life on this planet. So I sing Heart to Heart. I really like that. And then I sing Annie's song. As I say, this is perhaps my most popular song all over the world. And I'll do a verse in Russian. I didn't tell them that, it was a surprise. So I do the 3rd verse and start singing it in Russian. And this place lit up like a Christmas tree. I mean, applause, and they just went thumbs up. You fill up my senses like a night in a forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. Fill up my senses, come fill me again. Come, let me love you, let me give my life to you. Let me drown in your laughter, let me die in your arms, let me lay down beside you, let me always be with you. Come, let me love you, come Himayarana, Kakmoch Klesu, Kakoizis Noy, Kakrepapadasyon, Kakustini Egrodi, Kakori, Kaksoni Apyan, Himayarana, Feliz Canyon, you fill up my senses like a night in a forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me
How long were you in this?
Western Oklahoma, 1943. I always felt grateful to live in the land of the free. We gave up our father to South Korea, the mind of my brother to Vietnam. Now there's some bankers who say I must give up my land. There are 4 generations of love on this topsoil, 4 generations of blood in this topsoil, 4 generations of love on this farm. Before I give up, I would gladly give up my right arm. For the first time in my life, I feel like a prisoner, a slave to the ways of the powers that be. I fear for my children, I fear for the future I see. What are we making weapons for? Why keep on feeding the war machine? Take it right out of the mouth of our babies. We take it away from the hands of the poor. Tell me, what are we making weapons for? But I have a friend in the Soviet Union. His name is Alexander Grodsky, and I'm going to have him sing this verse. I had a son, and my son was a soldier, so like my father, so much like me. To be a good comrade was the best that he dreamed he could be. He gave up his future to revolution. It's like to a war that just cannot be won. For this is not living, to live at the point of a gun. I remember the 900 days of Leningrad, the sound of the dying, cut out the cold. I remember the moment I prayed I might never grow. How can it be we're still fighting each other? What is it now Zach and Anna Kate and I are flying to a place called Little Mulchatna Lodge, where I have a friend whose name is Stu Ramstead. And he's a dear friend of mine, known him for a long time. He's a great big guy, stands about 6'6". He's got little short legs. From about here up, he's just big. He's got a big belly and big barrel chest and huge. He's got red hair and his high, twangy voice, and he kind of talks like this, you see? And whenever he mentions, you ask him about a bear, he says, "Oh, you mean bear?" "Yeah, I've seen a few bear." So we get to this place and we're a day late because of some business that came up. And so we're flying out with his son, who's called Dave the Dude. And when we get to, and we hadn't been able to get a hold of him by radio, so when we arrived there, Little Mulchatna, about the middle of the afternoon on a Thursday, his lady, Vicky, is there, and her cousin are there at the lodge, and it's a funky kind of a place. You can handle about 6 to 8 people at the most at the time, and there's one bathroom over here that has a shower and stuff. But Stu didn't know if we were coming or not, and so he's gone over to a place called Big River to go fishing. So we decide, Zach and I and Dave the Dude, that we're going to go join him. But Anna Kate, thank the Lord, wants to stay at the lodge with these 2 girls, 2 ladies. So she stayed, and Zach and I and Dave the Dude jumped in the airplane, flew about an hour and a half across Alaska. And we're seeing elk and caribou and moose and all this kind of stuff. And when we get over there to Big River is on the western coast of Alaska, and it comes down like this and makes a turn and empties out in this big tidal flat. And when we land, we can see Stu Ramstead's plane in the bend of this river on this bank here. There's about 5, 6 other planes on this bank, on the opposite side and further upstream, and they're all from the big lodges. And we're landing there at about 4:30. Now, at all these big lodges, when you go there, they take you out early in the morning, you fish all day, but at 5 o'clock you leave to fly the 45 minutes, hour back to wherever you're staying, the lodge, and then be able to clean up and have cocktail hour before you have dinner. So what happens, these guys miss the prettiest part of the evening. Plus, they're missing the time when the tide's coming in, bringing all kinds of new fish, and that's just when we're arriving. So we think it's a pretty fantastic deal, but as we circle out over this tidal flat, there's 3 bears out there. And we look at them, and there's one small bear, and there's 2 fairly nice-sized bears. So we land, get out, and see Stu Ramstead, and he's there with his little dog called Sweetheart, which is a little black Labrador that he has out with him. And Stu and I are real good friends. We haven't seen each other for a long time. We have a pretty nice reunion. And I introduced him to Zach, and so we're having a great time, and all these other people are leaving. So they hear their planes take off. They take off actually right over our head. And we've got the whole river to ourselves, and the fish are just starting to bite like mad. And we're having a fantastic time, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful day, as you can imagine, in Alaska. And all of a sudden, so we're down about a little over a quarter mile from the airplane, is where we're fishing. And there's 2 creeks that come together like this into the river. And right there where those 2 creeks come together is where we're standing fishing. And we're catching loads of fish. And all of a sudden we notice a bear come walking off this tidal flat over by the airplane. Now we've seen a few bears from the air, but this is the first time we've been on the ground with one right over there. And so we're looking at that, and I say, "Zach, that big bear, a small bear?" And he looks and he says, "I think it's a small bear." Why do we know it's a small bear? It's got a big head. So sure enough, the bear sniffs around the airplanes a little bit and then goes off into the woods, and we continue fishing. About 20 minutes goes by, and Zach says to me, he says, "Dad," he says, "that bear is still over there by those airplanes." I said, "Zach, you don't know where that bear is. As far as we know, that bear could be right behind us right now." No sooner did I get the words out of my mouth than Sweetheart jumps up and starts barking and runs over here to the near bank of this creek that comes in like this. And I jump up and look, and sure enough, here comes that little bear walking on the far side of the bank. And Sweetheart barked at him and stuff like that, scared this bear. He scampered across the second creek and went running off. And we're saying, oh, way to go, sweetheart, you good dog. Scare those bears away. And we're all feeling pretty good about this, and this is the closest we've seen a bear. It's real exciting, gets your heart going a little bit when you look up and see a bear, less than 100 yards away. So, maybe 50 yards away. So we go on fishing and everything, having a good time. All of a sudden, Zach's got a big one on the line, and Sweetheart jumps up and starts barking again. And I step up and look it up, and Sweetheart's running over this nearby bank, and sure enough, on the opposite bank is as big a bear as I have ever seen, a grizzly bear. And now, Sweetheart's barking. Everybody kind of turns and looks, and Stu Ramstead turns and looks, and both of us are looking over here, and this bear stands up like this. And it's a big bear, and the first thing that Stu Ramstead says, David, get that dog and shut him up. And the dog's barking like mad. David had his camera out to take a picture. I'm looking, Zach's down here, got a fish on the line, and this bear is down and comes charging across the creek. And so David's scrambling to get this dog here and running back away, because the bear now is, about where the street is. And he's come across the creek and up the bank. David's got the dog back down and down here like this now, crouching and patting the dog and holding his muzzle shut. Now, the dog smelled the bear because the wind's blowing downstream at this time. So now we've got a big grizzly bear, my heart's pounding just thinking about it, about 20 yards away from us, and he is upset. So Stu Ramstead carries a gun with him. Little, what is Harry, Dirty Harry carry?
38.
57, 38?
38.
Yeah, something like
44.
that. No, it's a 38. 38.
Magnum. 38.
So he's got this big gun, and he's standing up, and now, another one of the things you've heard, you see a lot of guys out there, very, very rarely do you see a guy with a rifle, but they'll have a little 38 Magnum, which is almost a gun, if you're facing a bear. And so you ask him, what in the world do you do with a gun like that, with a bear? He says, well, you can fire a shot and scare them off if they charge, and they may not charge. One of the pictures that we saw, there's a book of an artist in Alaska who has photographs in his drawing. And one of the photographs he has is a full-face shot of a bear that charged him. And he had a camera lens, maybe a little bit of a telephoto lens, so you don't know how close he was. But he got to where the bear's head filled the full frame of the picture, and the guy had no weapon. He was lost. And he took a picture, and the click of the camera is what stopped the bear. He turned around and ran off. So you hear all these stories, but when you're standing there 20 yards away, and this guy's, the next thing, if it doesn't turn the bear around, is that you've got to wait until he's about right here, and then shoot him right between the eyes. In the head, you've got to shoot him in the head, and you'll kill the bear. The last thing you want to do is wound him. Shoot with a pistol if he's somewhere over there, because that's only going to be a sting, and it's going to really tick him off. So you have to wait till he's right here, and he's going to hurt you. You're going to get hurt. So here we are. We've got this bear, and Zach's down here, and he's saying, "What's going on, Dad? What's going on?" I said, "Shut up, Zach." And Stu Ramstead's walking back and forth. "Get out of here, you!" And his language just burning the air. And his high-pitched voice, and he's walking back and forth. And he's got this, "Get out of here now!" And the bear is up, and then he's down, and he's sitting, he's kind of sniffing around, and they have terrible eyesight. Another thing you hear about bears is that they don't have very good eyes, and they have no peripheral vision. That's why when they're walking, they're always moving their head like this, because they can't see peripherally. So that's the way they look, and they can't see very far at all, but they got a terrific nose. So he heard this dog and saw this little black animal, and he's thinking he's going to have a hot dog for lunch. That's what Stu's saying to us. So Zach's got a fish on line. I said, "Stu, should I have Zach cut the fish off?" He said, "No, just let the line go slack." So we got a little standoff here. We're going to have a little Mexican standoff here with this old boar. "Get out of here." And you don't know what to do with him like this. Just an obnoxious old cuss, and we'll stand here. I think we'll be all right. "Get out of here." The bear's standing up again, and my heart's pounding. I'm starting to think. So now I'm thinking, how am I going to tell Annie that her little boy was eaten by a bear? I'm also wondering how far I can throw this child into that river, and whether he'll think to get his waders off. Because if this bear gets in the middle of us and we don't kill him, we're just in real trouble. And there's only one gun, and somebody else has it. You know? If you have the gun, I have all the confidence in the world in Stu. He's been in the situation more times than I have, certainly. And so, but you're thinking about Zach, and God, will he think to get to the airplanes and get inside and not leave the airplanes and maybe flip the master switch on and get a radio on and call somebody and tell him where he is, or at least have the sense to wait until tomorrow, because there'll be more fishermen here tomorrow. You know, there's incidents that happen all the time up there, and people come the next day and there's somebody been eaten by a bear. In fact, there was about a week before we were there, a surveyor and his girlfriend were camping, and they both got mauled terribly by the bear. The guy was killed, the girl was going to have a pretty tough life. So all of these stories and everything's just going through your mind, and you can't talk much, and Zach doesn't think, what's going on, Dad? He says, shut up, Zach. Now he's up here standing beside me. Dave the dude is over here with the dog down, and Stu Ramstead is about right where you are, and the bear is between here and the back tent. And he's standing up. He's looking for that dog, you know, and then he's down again. And I've never been more scared in my life. So this goes on for about 20 minutes. And finally Stu says, well, maybe we ought to try it. We ought to try to mosey on down here to the airplane and leave this guy to his fishing hole. You know, and not only do we know that the fish are coming in, the bear know this. They live there. So we turn and we start to walk. Stu goes first, and Dave the dude keeps the dog sheltered and his hand over the muzzle, picks him up and starts walking with him, and then Zach, and then me. Now about 10 yards from us, there's a stand of trees that goes in a straight line like this. Very thin stand of trees, so you can see through it this way, but you can't see through it looking down the length of it. And as we start to move, the bear gets down and starts to move. And I'm watching this guy, and I see him get to the other side of these trees, and he charges. And he's running at Stu, and I say, Stu, he's coming at you! And Stu turns around, and at about 10 yards, he fires one shot beside the bear, and it turned the bear around. The bear ran off about 50 yards, and hung around another 15, 20 minutes, and then he left. But if he hadn't turned around, he would have one more chance, which is right here. And we were in big trouble.
Wasn't that the longest hour?
Oh, God. The whole thing only lasted about 25, 30 minutes at most. 20, 25 minutes, I guess.
Was that
Yeah, it was a long time. No, he wasn't. You know, one of the things that happens with a little kid is that if you're not scared, they're not going to get scared. At one point during this, though, with the bear standing right over here, when Zach's standing up here beside me and seeing how close this bear is and how big it is, and when this bear stands up, it's about a 10-foot bear. 10 foot tall. Bigger than, 2 or 3 feet bigger than this guy Stu Ramstead, who's 6'6".